Go for the gold. Welcome to the new What's with the Neighbors live studio. Coming to you from my basement.
Is it working? Okay. I am good. Are you good, Bree?
I think I'm good, as long as it's showing that it's good. So if this episode doesn't come out, it's because my basement doesn't like it.
Also, you wouldn't know if it came out.
We had to redo like everything.
Yeah. Times are rough. But you know what's rougher?
Times are changing. Dogs?
Yes.
Were you going to say that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. And Bree already that's Bree.
Oh, and that is Amy.
Is that a cooler next to you?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I was like, there's a cup holder on it. I'll
Oh,
put it
nice.
beside one of us.
Nice.
Sorry.
I love it.
I gave myself the cooler.
It's okay. I can't find my cup.
Did you bring it?
No.
Oh, your big one?
Yeah.
How did you lose
It's
that? The
somewhere
thing
in
is
my
massive.
house. I know.
Hopefully you didn't pack it. Someone
It
just
is not
packs a
packed.
full thing of water. You're gonna be like, why is everything wet? Damn it, Amy. I could see you do that with all of the craziness that's been going on at your house.
One time I accidentally, Rick and Alice, they were going down to California to visit, and Rick was looking for he had charged his earbuds, and I put them like conveniently next to his stuff, like after they were done charging. So he was like ready to go right at 11 o'clock. And he's like, where are my earbuds? And I was like, I put them right there. Like,
Right there.
he was so we're searching, and he's like, why'd you touch it? And I was like, I was trying to help. You know, like all of everything, you know, and you're like trying to get to the airport. So
Yeah, everything's already
stressed.
stressed already.
Yeah. And turns out, because I went through the trash, I threw them away.
Oh, no.
How did I throw them away?
I've thrown away one of Josh's paychecks before.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've done something like that before.
Oops. He still doesn't let me live it down. You're fine.
Oh, I'm sure.
Hey, Charlotte. Hey, Charlotte. I'm sorry. Hey! Pour those into your hand. You're making noise.
It's not picking up.
Okay, it's fine. Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Be quiet for a second.
She's kind of far, so.
Yeah. She's like, what? No, I don't have my pillow.
Hey.
It's good. It's good.
Okay.
I'm fine. Okay, so I have a question for you before we start. Also, who's going first this week? I forgot.
I would like to go first since mine's a two-parter, and I was the last one to go, and I want to continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. It's a short and sweet one.
All right.
You better have an answer for this one.
Okay.
Maybe I should have prepped you before, though. Is a hot dog a sandwich or... Oh, is a hot dog... Oh, let me start over. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
What is it then?
I don't know. But now you got me thinking. It's not a sub. It's just a hot dog.
But it's like in between
In
two
bread,
pieces
but
of
like a
bread.
burger isn't a sandwich.
So is a burger a sandwich?
No, it's a burger.
Okay.
It's like you got sandwiches.
Yeah.
You got burgers and you got hot dogs. Just those three categories.
In the
That's it.
entire world.
Would you like a burger, sandwich, or hot dog? That's what they
But
call
what
them.
about
Hot
a
dog buns, hamburger
pan-
buns, and sandwich bread. Or they don't really call it sandwich bread. They just call it bread.
Who's calling it sandwich bread? I have questions.
But like if you go to the store and you're like, hey, can you go get me some bread? Like, I mean, you kind of have to like be specific of what kind of bread.
That's true.
Like, do you want like bread like as in like a loaf of bread, or do you want like, you know, like...
I don't think they sell them individually.
I mean, they sell like the bowls. Oh man, those I could eat a whole Hawaiian bread
yeah.
bowl.
I know. Me too.
Those are so good. Oh yeah. Oh, I should have made that. I'm gonna make you that.
Oh, okay.
It's called bread bowl dip.
Oh.
It's delicious.
Yeah, you put it inside a piece of sourdough.
Yeah, no, we use Hawaiian bread, and you just pick it all out, and then you pour like this mayonnaise mixture with like I don't know.
Is it artichoke?
Sour cream. No, it's got like sour cream, mayonnaise, Lowry's, and dill seasoning, I believe. I believe that's the only 4 ingredients. I might be missing one. I got to talk to my ex-stepmom.
I feel like there needs to be something else in there.
It is so good because it like pairs perfectly with like the sweet bread, and it's like this like sour mixture. Oh, it's so good.
Is it good?
It is. It's so good. What do you think? What is your thoughts on that?
Dog.
You think it's a hot dog?
It's just a hot dog.
Yeah, it's not a sandwich. No. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
There's just I mean, but on the other hand, like hot dogs are really similar to bologna, so I don't know. That's a good question.
If you get like the mixed meat.
Hot dogs, the cheap
stuff.
The good stuff. The stuff that's the worst for you. The stuff that has everything questionable in it.
Exactly.
The leftover bits of all the rest of the meat. What do we do with this? Just throw it in the hot dog bowl.
Just put it in the hot dog bowl.
It'll get smashed. It'll look the same. It's just like poop. It all comes out the same.
What if they called it hot dog? Okay, hold on. What if they called it hot dogs because it was actually like originally meant for dogs? They're like, let's give this to the dogs, like the extra meat. And then they're like, it's because it's like meat or whatever, quote unquote. And so like they're like, well, like hot for the dogs, and they called it hot dogs. Don't look it up. I don't want to know.
All right.
I like that theory, and I'm gonna stick with it.
All right. I'm gonna look it up after you leave.
But I don't want that theory because I don't want to think that we're eating like something that was originally meant for dogs. The humans are like, this is pretty tasty. This is for us now.
Natalie eats dog food.
Yeah, it's true.
She loves dog food.
Alice used to also.
Same.
All right. I have a neighborhood story for you.
Go for the gold.
All right. This is from Reddit. Asked my neighbor to try and keep her dogs from barking at night while we were sleeping. A few nights later, she was out there barking herself, encouraging the dogs to make noise.
You are really, really, really just tired, aren't you?
Did I share this last week?
Yes, you did. That's okay. We're going to continue with it. Guys, Amy's going through a lot of stuff right now. She was up this morning before I was.
That's true.
That's saying a lot. Her kid came and knocked on my door at like 10:30, and I'm like, whoa, I don't have pants or bra on.
I told her, I was like, just put them on the porch. You don't need to stop by and say hi.
Oh no, she knocked on my door, and I was like, who the hell's at my door? And I looked at my camera, and I'm like, oh, it's Alice.
I cannot
and her puppy.
believe.
She was gonna come in with the dog too, and I was like, dude, you cannot come inside with your dog.
That's right.
My dogs will go nuts.
First off, I didn't know she took the dog, but I was like, just put it on the porch. You don't need to stop by and say.
I promise you, we were all up. We just weren't out of bed
yet. I cannot believe I shared this last week.
You so did.
When I looked up, I was like, gosh dang it, I did something wrong. Well, there you guys go. Go.
Recap for last week. Just in case. This is actually just a test to make sure you guys are listening.
Yeah. Actually, we're taking that all back. Wasn't that funny? That was a funny Reddit post.
So funny. Oh my God. That was such a good one. I love it.
Okay, go ahead and share your story. Mine's kind of long, by the way.
All right. So, as you guys know, we did the first part of Skinwalker Ranch last week. We left off with the Shermans getting terrorized, and he sacrificed his 3 dogs.
That's what's up.
He did not sacrifice them. He just told him to go get whatever was out there, and
they never came
He
back.
just never went to look for them until the next morning.
Absolutely cruel.
So sad. All right. So, after enduring all these paranormal festivities, whatever you want to call them. What's wrong? Okay. I'm fine. Me? So, after enduring all these paranormal festivities, or whatever you want to call them, for 2 years and losing thousands of dollars worth of like cattle,
oh my gosh.
They finally, like the Shermans finally went public. So, like, no one was like, they weren't telling anyone.
Say it before then.
I know.
But okay, whatever.
But they said they went seriously. I guess they might have told like the local cops or something like that. But like they went like legit public and told like the papers and the news and stuff. So yeah, their story did appear on the news. Several articles were put out in magazines. Even a book was put out about it. The family ended up selling the property to the founder of the National Institute for Discovery Science, or NIDS, NIDS.
Okay.
It was a guy, he was also a millionaire and a big believer in UFOlogy.
Okay.
And his name's Robert Bigelow. And it was sold for $200,000.
Whoa.
Contingent on a non-disclosure agreement with the Shermans, who agreed to not talk about any more events that had happened on the ranch. So they were not allowed to talk about anything else that unless other than what they'd already discussed.
Okay.
So Bigelow turned the ranch into this giant like UFO investigation base. They were equipped with high-tech sensing equipment and had like PhD level investigators, scientists, and security was like super tight. Could not get on there. Place was guarded for 24/7.
The entire place?
Oh yeah. People can't get on there.
Whoa.
Not long, NIDS was disbanded and Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies, or BAAS, BAAS,
I like that more.
took over.
Okay.
And this group was a lot more secretive and ended up getting lots of government sponsors. So like the government was now getting involved.
Okay.
In 2007, Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, or ATIP, sponsored the ranch and was funded by the U.S. Defense Department.
Okay.
$22 million was spent on this program, and stuff was so locked down that all this stuff was not made public until 2017.
What?
And it was sold in, 1996. Yeah, I believe 1996. So it like all this stuff was going on for years, and no one knew that like this base was like being like investigated and stuff. There are still parts of the whole study that remain classified as of today, and the Department of Defense hasn't even officially acknowledged the program's existence. So by 2016, the ranch was sold for $4.5 million.
What?
And the team was disbanded, and the road to the ranch was made completely private, with gates blocking the entrance, with no access to the property as of today, with about 1 million warning signs.
Wow.
In 2016, the ranch was sold to a Brandon Fugel, who in 2019 began investigating and experimenting on the ranch with a series of scientists and experts to begin filming the History Channel's The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, which first aired in 2020.
Wow.
And is continuing. They're on season 4 right now.
Oh, different seasons?
Yeah. I haven't even watched. I've only seen the first season.
What?
It goes into like a spin-off series called Beyond Skinwalker Ranch.
Okay.
So on the show, the crew works together to heavily observe Skinwalker Ranch. I think like the first year, that's all they did was just like observe the ranch and like have surveillance and whatnot.
Right.
And they also measure changes in radiation, temperature, magnetic fields. They collect samples from like soil to like animal mutilations, because that's still going on. They dig and more. Anything they can do. I won't go too into detail because like you can watch this yourselves.
Brie, I'm so sorry, and I don't know how much you're able to access it, but how many acres is it again?
500, I think.
Okay.
I think it's 500.
Jeez.
Yeah. But it's also like bordered on like reservations too, like Indian reservations as well. So like people don't access it unless like
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you have to get very special permission.
That would make sense.
But yeah, I won't go too into detail because you guys can watch it. I would
go into detail about the
I would basically be like relaying out everything that happens in the show. But basically, they're going on the show to try and debunk all of the occurrences that have happened on the ranch and kind of fail to, because like they can't explain a lot of things that are happening. There are lots of, or some of the crew have suffered from feelings of uneasiness, seen figures, heard voices, had technology malfunctions, and even suffered from illnesses and severe injuries that were randomly brought on and are unexplained by doctors. So on that note, one of the crew members, you were so loud. Okay, first we had Alice. Now we have Charlotte.
It's okay. I love it.
So further into that whole like getting a random injury, one of the crew members, one of the first things that they wanted to do, they brought this scientist on from like Alabama, and he's like this huge like NASA scientist. He's cool. He's a cool guy. And he's like, so let's dig on here because everyone says that bad stuff happens when you dig. And also remember that was what?
Is your husband watching Star Wars?
Yes, he is watching Star Wars. Can you hear it? Is it? Do you think it's too loud?
No, it's the.
He's probably watching Clone Wars.
It's the lightsabers.
Yeah, he's probably watching Clone Wars.
All I can hear. Sorry.
He said he wanted to watch Star Wars when we got home. I was like, all right, go for it.
You do that, buddy.
So yeah, one of the big things that the first things that the guy wanted to do was whenever they got on the property, he's like, let's dig and see what happens. And they're like, no, let's not, because bad things happen when people do that. And he's like insisting that they do that. And so one of the crew members comes forward and he's like, so let me tell you about the experience I had when I decided to dig on here and everybody told me not to.
Right.
So the guy said that he decided to dig and he had to stop because he was like experiencing like a bunch of pain and had to go to the hospital.
Right.
He had this huge goose egg just appear on his head. Hadn't hit his head, didn't fall or anything like that, and had this. What? Just have this. Come drink this.
Swallow your spit.
Just drink my soda. Quickly. Move with the purpose. Next time you need to bring everything in here or you're not ever going to sit in here with us ever again. Come on. Just for you guys to know, I love my child. Otherwise, I wouldn't have given her the rest of my Dr. Pepper.
Right?
Is it good? Is it okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay, don't sit there because it's a loud seat. Don't talk. Don't talk or anything, okay?
I had a seat like that when I was in like high school.
They're super loud.
So loud.
Those are our bachelor chairs. We got those whenever our furniture wasn't here yet. Okay, so he had this huge goose egg just randomly appear on his head, and it was so bad that it like messed like it. He still had trauma from it like today,
heck?
and you can see it through the x-rays. You can see it swelling in his head and on the outside of his skull as well.
Oh my gosh.
And the doctors had no idea what could have brought it on. So they decided not to dig it first because of that.
That makes sense.
Sorry, I decided to go on my own and tell you that. Okay, so that's all I'm going to tell you on that show.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to call them a fun fact, but I'm going to start calling them frightening facts because I was like, that's way more fun. So I have a frightening fact for you.
A frightening fact?
A little known rock band, a.k.a. Blink-182, is associated with the ranch.
What? How?
Well, the co-founder to the band.
I'm very
Tom
confused.
Long. He evidently was fascinated with UFOs, and in 2017 he established To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences, a hybrid entertainment and UFO research entity, and he employs lots of the past employees from who worked on the ranch as like scientists and stuff.
What?
Like for like the NIDS organization and stuff. He doesn't actually work on Skinwalker Ranch, but I saw Blink-182, and it was a fun fact about the ranch. So I was like, I'll throw it in there.
That's a good one.
So, obviously, Skinwalker Ranch is paranormal. There's something going on there. So, guess who wants a piece of the action?
Oh my gosh, what's Zach Bagabites?
Thank you, and that's why we drink. You have forever put that in our heads.
Yes.
Zach Bagans.
Yes,
Zach flippin' Bagans wants a piece of the action. So him and his crew ended up getting very, very special permission from the Navajo Navajo, I said it right, Navajo reservation to go to Skinwalker Ridge or Canyon, where all the crazy shit happens.
What?
And I guess it's believed by Navajo that a witch conjures a skinwalker in that cave, and they call it Witchcraft Cave.
Ew, I don't like it.
I know. So when they first get taken out there, so like they get like taken out there by one of the tribe members.
Yeah.
First of all, the tribe member he's armed.
Sure.
Because he's like, I don't know what we're going to see out here.
Right.
And if we see a skinwalker, like, we're not going to be able to, like, outrun it. And Zach's got, like, a machete. He's like, well, I've got a machete, but I don't know how much this is going to help me.
A machete.
Yeah. So they go out there just to kind of get a little tour of the area while it's daytime. And immediately when they arrive, their equipment starts malfunctioning. And they see some fresh shoe tracks going inside the cave. And then they just stop.
Nope.
Yeah. And this is out in the middle of nowhere. This isn't like it's right off the highway.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Also, before they actually start their actual investigation, they had to do they did like a special ceremony. And it was to like help protect them on their journey. And they were unknowingly given hallucinogenic herbs.
Brie.
It's so funny. So they got a little high.
How?
They had no idea. They're like, this is called the ghost. What is it called? The Ghostbuster or something like that.
Ghostbuster?
And Zach was like, oh yeah, that's right up our alley. And he just figured it was some kind of like cleansing thing.
Oh my
and they all
Lord.
took it. And like they're all like, whoa, we feel really weird. they start like slow mowing down the audio and stuff, and it sounds hilarious because they're all going, ow.
Oh my Lord. That's fun.
Yeah, they had a grand old time, I'm sure. So when they returned to the cave that evening for the actual lights down, lights off investigation, they found that a fire had burned in the time that they had gone there earlier that day.
What? How?
And the night. Someone had been there. And that an animal skull was in it. And there were 3 burn spots on the wall. And they also found a feather and a gun shell casing and a bullet hole in the wall, which they suspected to be from possibly a ritual.
What the heck?
I know. And it was probably just like a few hours in between
so
the time that they had
weird.
been there.
No, I don't like that.
The crew also experienced a series of light anomalies, even in like the dark cave, because they made Aaron they always make him do the scariest stuff. They made him go deep into the cave, and like you could see these like flashes of light where there were no light or no one else was in there. They'd heard voices and screams, seen figures, and smelled a foul, rotting smell.
Nope.
The feeling of being touched by an unseen entity, and they experienced extreme temperature drops, like 40-degree difference in like just a matter of like a minute or two.
What?
And obviously they just felt uneasy.
No, I don't like that.
So that was the Ghost Adventures take on it. Go watch it. It's actually pretty good. And then if you watch them in order, the next episode also, because they also go to like another region of that Four Corners area in Utah.
Yeah.
It's freaking freak. That's probably the scariest episode. It was a skinwalker. And I don't know. It could have been a skinwalker. It could have been a demon, but it was this house and this family getting terrorized by something.
What?
It was creepy. Anyway, they're like all in that area. Stuff is going all around. So theories. I have to go over some theories. So according to Navajo history, skinwalkers are there as a curse and a punishment to the Ute people for mistreating them centuries ago.
Wow.
Spiritually tarnishing the earth underneath them for eternity. Another theory, but I highly doubt it, people are lying for money.
Yeah.
Gotta throw that one out there.
Yeah, but like that's a lot of people lying.
Exactly. And like to go spend $2 million there for the government.
Yeah.
Like, are they really lying, or like, are we just wasting our money? I don't think so.
Right.
And then everybody around them sees stuff that happens too there. So
is everyone lying?
Yeah,
Everyone's getting a
the
payout?
whole town is getting paid for this. Seeing all these crafts, lights, and figures in the sky many believe that aliens are hanging out here kind of maybe visiting us and studying humans. I don't know, maybe.
And they chose that one ranch.
One
to
spot. According to many people, there have been bright orange and blue lights flash on the property. With there being so many creatures and UFOs spotted here, it's believed that they are coming from a parallel universe or an alternate reality or a plane of existence that exists adjacent to ours, but for some reason connects there. I mean, maybe. I like that theory.
Yeah.
Another theory for more of the skeptics is that all these individuals are having shared psychosis or shared delusional disorder. Basically, everyone's imagining it.
No, I
crazy.
don't like that one.
I think that's
How?
bullshit.
How is everybody imagining?
Everybody's crazy. You go to Skinwalker Ranch, crazy. Also, in the show Skinwalker Ranch, the aerospace scientist guy talks about how many years ago the U.S. tested for atomic bombs in Nevada.
Okay.
And whenever they did that, the dirt became like radioactive. And they say that like a lot of that dirt blew over into that whole entire area. And they say that like maybe the ground is like radioactive. But like,
could be.
Is it that radioactive? And after this many years, I don't know.
I don't think that.
They say that it could possibly cause the symptoms of people feeling ill. But like.
But that explains one symptom.
Exactly. And it could explain like people seeing things or hearing things and like messing with your mind. That's what they were getting at. But like cattle mutilations.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Right. Maybe the people are doing it.
Maybe they're just doing it for money.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe they're okay, so we're going to get really deep. Maybe they're like going crazy from all the radiation that they're getting all these symptoms and all these things are happening and they're like being told by voices in their head to go mutilate their cattle.
Yes,
and then now they're telling people that it's aliens.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's a theory.
There we go. New theory.
There you go.
Boom.
Just like that.
So as of today, to wrap this up, there is surprisingly no Airbnb there.
No?
It's not fun. Rude.
I know. Also, that's kind of,
moneymaker. You can't even visit the ranch unless you're invited by the owner. However, if you want a glimpse at a UFO there.
Or can you buy it?
You could. If you want to buy it, you can pay millions of dollars. Easy.
Just like that.
Just do that.
It's not for sale.
When we're famous one day, we will buy the ranch.
When I'm famous.
Yeah. You're going to buy me the ranch for my birthday?
I'm banking on Alice being famous at this point.
Dude, right? So true.
Come on, Charlotte and Natalie.
So, if you do want a glimpse at a possible UFO, there is actually a campground just outside the ranch that advertises like UFO themed ATV tours and whatnot.
That's
so,
cute.
I now want to go there. So, yeah, that is the Skinwalker Ranch, guys.
That's nearby where I'm going to go for a little bit.
Yeah.
Utah's
Four Corners.
right next door. Yeah.
Upside
That's
down.
so cool. Thank you. I'm so excited you
welcome.
finally did this story.
Yes, you're welcome.
That was good. I feel like Skinwalker, like you see people like on TikTok, like these things that are unexplained and people are like, oh, Skinwalkers. And like, it makes sense. But in my mind, Brie, I thought Skinwalkers were just like one thing. And they were just like these not aliens, but like these creatures that were like kind of like they had like hind legs, like they could go on their kind of like the werewolf in Harry Potter. Yeah. I forgot something at my house I wanted to show you. Kind of like that, but like super tall.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. Well, I mean, that's basically what I described in the beginning with that one wolf. Well, I mean, like they say that they can appear as a couple different things. So I mean, like, but like there could be multiple
like the children,
things going on
like
there.
and things like that.
Yeah,
like they can.
Yeah.
But like, and that's like their main look. But then they can like morph into these other things also.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a lot of theories on them, so that could be something. They could do that. I don't know. They think so. In Ghost Adventures, they talked about in the cave was like they believe that there was a portal in there, which is why they would see like tracks go in there and like disappear, and they believed like they would like come in and out of that portal.
Where is the portal going to?
I don't know, but they went through it.
They should send
It
Aaron
was like they did. It was
into
an
the
archway.
portal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, a portal for them. I guess
In the next episode, they also sent him under. Oh wait, that he didn't. They didn't send him underneath the house, but they
That's
sent
so
him.
mean.
They sent him in a trailer with a demon, and he had like a panic attack. Yeah. He's like,
Poor
"Can I
man.
leave now?" And they're like, "No." He's like, "Oh, I don't want to be in
I
here."
don't want to be here anymore.
He's like, "Get over it. This is what you do. You're an investigator."
oh my gosh. All right, Zach, you could go do it yourself. Like, goodness gracious.
All right, let's hear
So,
something depressing.
It is depressing, but it's not as bad as last week.
Oh, okay, thank God. Good.
I mean, maybe it's depressing for the people involved, but so I'm going to tell you about Amy. I'm probably going to butcher her last name, but it's Bechell. Bechell.
Amy
Bechell.
Bechell.
Amy Bech. So Amy's name before she was married was Amy Joy Roy.
Wow. She does not luck. She has had bad luck with some
know.
last names. All right,
Oof.
continue.
So, she was born in Santa. Also, look.
What happened?
I don't know. That was the second time of printing, and there's plenty of ink in it. It's just like not wanting to print for
so
me today.
light.
Yeah. So, she was born in Santa Barbara, California. Her and her siblings grew up together with both of their parents. Her father was a city administrator, and her mother taught children that were living with a variety of different physical disabilities.
Okay.
When Amy was only in 6th grade, she fell in love with running. Also, this story is about me.
Okay.
Just kidding. She spent middle school and high school on the track team and got progressively better through the years. But when she actually was like first starting out, her coaches are like, "You're not that good. You're just really not good at running."
That would be
Also,
me.
how are you bad at running?
I'm bad at running.
I don't know how you can be
I'm
bad.
terrible at running.
So her coaches were like, maybe this isn't like for you. And she's like, bet. And she's like, I'm going to, try really hard. And she was determined that this is what she wanted to do, was to run. By the time she entered college at the University of Wyoming, she became the captain of the cross-country team and track team.
Oh, shit. Get it, girl.
She frequented conferences and competitions where she ended up setting records on the team, which was named an all-star team.
Good.
While she was a student at the University of Wyoming, she met Steve Bechell. But it's got to be Bechell. No, Bechell. It's got to be that. He was an athletic. He was athletic and loved the outdoors as much as she did. While she was a runner, he wasn't a runner, but he was a very talented rock climber. And it wasn't long before they fell in love. And after college, they moved into an apartment together in Lander, Wyoming. And like got married and stuff and like did that whole thing.
Right.
Well, they chose this location because it was right outside the Shoshone National Forest, which is historically a beautiful place for rock climbing and for trail running.
Oh, perfect.
Amy did continue running, and she was competing in regional and national competitions. She also ran in the Boston Marathon in 1996.
Oh, cool.
And during this time that I'm telling you about, she was training for the 10K, which is 6.10 miles.
Oh, my gosh.
6.10 miles.
Have you ever done a 10K before?
Yeah, Brie.
Oh, my gosh.
I've also done a half marathon. The furthest I've ever ran, I've done tons of half marathons. Furthest I've ever ran was 15.5 miles.
Oh, my gosh.
On my treadmill.
You are, holy crap, like
Yeah.
all in one session?
Yeah.
Who does that?
I did.
How long did it take you?
I don't remember. It was like a couple hours, but I was so tired. I walked outside and it was snowy. It was like, I have a picture of myself. I walked outside, walked downstairs, and I was just in a tank top and my running capris,
Uh-huh.
and I just like went flat back onto the snow.
You're just like, I'm gonna run 15 miles today.
Yeah. Well, I meant to run just I think it was like 13, but
Easy.
when I looked at like when I was done, I wanted to finish watching the TV series that I was watching, and so I was like, by the time I was done, it was 15 and a half.
I have no patience. One, I don't have patience to run very far, and two, like I end up being like so wheezed out
Yeah.
that I'm
it's
usually like
your asthma.
so tired by like the end of my mile.
Yeah. Alice ran 2 miles today.
Dang,
my mom.
get it, girl.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I'm trying to like look at this while I'm doing that. Okay. So
Okay,
so
Cardi
she was
B.
huh?
Cardi
B. So she was training for this 10K, but on top of that, Amy was also training to qualify for the 2000 Olympics.
Dang.
I know.
Okay.
So she's like bet coaches in middle school, like, look at me now.
All right.
Look at me now.
Look at me
Look
now.
at me now. I'm getting paper. So in July of 1997, Steve and Amy bought their first home together, like I said, and they're making this preparations to move. Or I didn't say that they bought a first home. I said they moved into an apartment. So they were like trying to get ready to move into this new home while they were still in this apartment. The morning of July 24th, 1997, it was supposed to be an ordinary but busy day. Steve had made plans to go rock climbing with a friend about 70 miles away from their home. And that morning, he said goodbye to his wife. And she's like, okay, have a great day.
Have fun rock climbing.
Have fun rock climbing. Amy's planned her plans for that day around 9:30. She left to go teach a fitness class, and then she spent the rest of the late morning and early afternoon running errands that they needed to do to move into this new home.
Were some of the errands running? Running errands are running.
You're so silly. Okay, so Kirsty's boyfriend fiance came into work to give her flowers or whatever, and I was asking him questions, and I was like, what are you doing? Are you going fishing? Because he was wearing a fishing shirt, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go down to Kenai. And I was like, for what? And he said, oh, the salmon are running. And I was like, where are they running to? And he was like, what? I was like, where are they running? You said they're running. I just love myself.
I love when you tell me that I'm throwing my kids in the bath, and you're like, you really shouldn't throw your kids in the bath. Like, really, Amy? I'm dealing with 2 screaming children. Not now. Read the room.
No, I
but
never
really,
did.
I love it.
So while she was doing this, these errands, she did that. After she finished, she stopped at a photo printing store because she was also like a little amateur photographer, and like was trying. I know
she does everything.
I know. So she was like trying to get like this portfolio together for this competition that she was going to enter into. So she went to this photography store to print some of her work, and then after she went to the local after that, she went to a local shop called Gallery 331 to talk to the owner named Greg Wagner.
Okay, Wagner. Gagner.
I cannot believe I Greg Gagner.
No.
So she left the store at 3:30 p.m. that day, and Greg Wagner ended up being the last person that Amy had ever known to speak to.
When you start including times in it, I know that it gets serious.
I know.
Right with like every time you have a story and you include like what time it was, I'm like, oh, shit's going down.
This is it.
All right. 3:30.
Got it. So Amy then, after this, she drove to Shoshone National Forest in the Wind River mountain area to do a practice run along the route that she was going for that upcoming 10K race that she was going to do, according to eyewitness accounts. So someone saw her drive up there. One person reported to have seen a woman who resembled Amy running along Loop Road, which was part of the 10K. this is about 70 miles on a scenic drive through the forest that ends in Ladner, Wyoming. She was wearing Adidas trail shoes, a yellow tank top, and black shorts. I don't know how people remember this type of stuff because I don't.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't know. She might have had brown hair. I don't.
She seemed like she was really short.
I think it was a woman. So, meanwhile, while Amy was on her run, Steve had been with a friend all day, and he returned around 4:30 that afternoon to find that Amy wasn't home yet, which at this time was not that big of a deal because he was like, it's still light out. You know, she said she was going to be busy running errands. So he didn't think much of it, and so he went to the neighbor's house for dinner. When he returned home around 8:30 p.m., Amy still wasn't home, so he was like, okay, now I'm worried. It's dark out. You know, normally she's home about this time. But he still was like, you know, maybe she was really busy, so he still didn't think much of it.
Right. I was afraid that you're going to make too big of a deal out of something.
Right. You're
really
trying not
simple.
to panic.
Yeah.
So then he realized that there were no messages on the machine, and after talking to her parents who had also not heard from her, he decided to drive, you know, some of her regular running routes to see if he could find her. But there wasn't any sign of her. So he went home, but by then it was 10:30 that night when there was still no sign of her, so he decided then to call in and report her missing. He told them that Amy did not tell him of her plans to go running that day, but also like Amy going running was like
not out of the norm.
No, it was like her brushing her teeth. Like
Okay.
it was such a common thing
Right.
that he was just like, I didn't think it was
Right.
something I had to like be concerned about.
Right.
So Steve directed them to areas of Shoshone National Forest that she often ran, and he knew that she did have plans at some point to map out this 10K. So Steve reached out to some friends, hoping that someone had heard from her, but no one had heard from her, just like her parents. And two of their friends, Amy and lots of Amy's, Amy and Todd Skinner, agreed that they would drive into the forest and help look for her. What am I saying? Oh, and Steve ended up staying home just in case she ended up showing up or calling.
Right.
So after several hours of police and her friends searching, Todd and Amy found the missing Amy's abandoned white Toyota station wagon on the side of the road close to the entrance of the hiking trail.
Oh.
There was no signs of Amy, though, and the police noted that Amy had left her sunglasses, her car keys, and her wallet was missing from the car, which is weird. Why would you leave your keys but take your wallet?
I was just thinking that. Yeah. Like,
so I think it would
definitely
be like
have
opposite.
to take your keys.
Yeah,
because like you wouldn't like leave your car without your keys.
Right. And it's not like this was in the 90s, so there was none of those like side key buttons to enter your, I don't know, very weird. So there was no obvious signs of the vehicle being broken into, any types of evidence of a struggle or someone else being somewhere outside of the vehicle, so they assumed that maybe she was on the trails. They drove the roads and walked the trails for several hours, calling out her name, but there was no response from her, and there was no sign of her being in the area. So the following morning, the Fremont County Search and Rescue Team and an unofficial team of 10 of Lander's best climbers and Steve began searching. Even with them combing the forest and the trails covering over 25 miles of land, there was almost no sign of her. There was no indication of a bear or a mountain lion attack, which is something to consider. Yeah. They were looking for any signs of like shredded clothes, any blood marks, any broken branches, drag marks, anything that would indicate that she was in the area or had been in the area.
Right.
They were also looking for signs that she might have fallen or injured herself.
Okay.
So they were looking off side of, cliff sides.
Yeah.
And but there was like no traces of her. Like she just like vanished in the air. It was so weird.
Skinwalker. Alien.
So it was Wyoming. Helicopters arrived with infrared body sensors, and armies of over 100 and an army of over 100 volunteers arrived to the national forest. So like they had like this smaller team of like these experts that they knew, like of mountain climbing or whatever, and then like the normal community arrived. Many of the volunteers were very experienced outdoor people, and they had lots of different abilities. They could read topo maps, which don't ask me what those are. And they could rappel from canyons.
Oh, okay.
They arrived with dirt bikes and ATVs so they could cover more ground, and they initiated this like super intense search effort for her. For several days, they were doing this search, but there was no signs of her. On the fourth day of searching for Amy, Todd Skinner was in a remote area of... Were you looking at the American map?
Oh, yeah. I was checking to see if I had done Wyoming. I have.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the fourth day, Todd Skinner was in a remote area of the national forest in a canyon when he came across footprints in a cave by a creek. The footprints matched the same Adidas shoes that Amy had been wearing, and there was, which I don't know how people can, like,
yeah,
I don't know.
But I mean, like, you see footprints, period, and you're like, hey, there's footprints here, and there's like, there shouldn't be people over here, and then like you report them, maybe they can tell like the footprints.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So
and they take like casts of them, right?
Yeah,
molds of them.
I'm assuming they did.
I mean, maybe it like had like Adidas written in it.
But also, like, I don't know. That's just weird. Like, was it mud?
And then, like, did it blow? Why didn't it blow away?
Yeah. Like, those are the type of stuff I think of.
Yeah.
But, so it matched the same Adidas shoes that she was wearing. And there was also remnants of a campfire. So he got super excited. But get this, he was over 7 miles away from the main camp.
Jeez.
So he's like running back. He's like, you guys, I have news.
You guys.
But he's like, what? If he was a runner and he ran a 10-minute mile, that's over an hour, and he's just like, hey you guys, for over an hour. The whole time. And that's a 10-minute mile.
Oh my gosh.
So he goes back to the main camp and he's like, I have like great news. But news got out that they were looking, like, they found these shoes in this campfire, and a local boy from the area reported that he had actually recently camped in the area in that same cave, actually, and he had worn Adidas trail running shoes, and the evidence from the campfire was because he had a campfire.
Dang.
But at least he came forward.
Yeah. So actually, that was me.
So I'm sorry. I know that you're like really excited that you might. Oh, I hate to be that guy.
I want to send you on a wild goose chase.
Yeah. So after 6 days of nonstop looking for Amy without a single sign of her, their search of her was officially called off. Rumors and theories, of course, just flooded Lander, and people had all sorts of thoughts of what happened. But police had their own idea, which every time a woman goes missing, they always look at their significant other first.
Right.
So even though Steve had been helping in the search, which is not uncommon, even if they did it,
right,
police never actually sat him down to get his side of the story. So they asked Steve to come down to the police station for questioning about his marriage and his whereabouts that day. Steve was very quick to say that he was in a happy marriage and there was nothing weird going on. He said that he had an hour-by-hour alibi for the entire day and would be happy to answer any questions when he arrived at the station. He did undergo a series of intense questioning, but for every question that he had an answer.
Okay.
And he did seem to have an airtight alibi that did check out. Several of the FBI agents left the room, and then another one entered, and his name was Rick McCall. He brought in a file of papers. Like, it literally reminded me of, like, from the movies. He, like, walked in with a file of papers, and he, like, slammed it down on the ground. He's like, I'm really good at what I do, and I know that you murdered your wife.
Bad cop.
Yeah.
Good cop, bad cop.
And before he, like, and he's like, I know you murdered your wife, and you should do a polygraph test. And Steve was like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
And, like, but Steve didn't even look at what was in the file. Like, what's in the file, dude?
Yeah.
Like, that would be my first question. Is like,
why you throwing this at me?
Yeah. So he was like, I'll do it, but first I want to get with my lawyer, and I will come back in the morning to do it. Smart, I guess. So, so he goes to his lawyer. He talks to his lawyer. The next morning, he calls the police, and he's like, I'm actually not going to do the test. Because the lawyer said it wasn't a good idea. So sometime between that afternoon that he was first initially interviewed by the FBI and the following morning, police received a new eyewitness account from the day that he disappeared.
Okay.
So while he was talking with his lawyer, somebody came forward. An unnamed witness reported that they had seen a blue pickup truck speeding on Loop Road with the same within the same area with where the other witness had seen her running. This person saw her inside the truck, and there was a man driving, and a distraught blonde woman in the passenger seat who they said resembled Amy.
Yeah.
So they claim that the truck was right. It was right around 5 p.m. and it had just happened it just happens that Steve had a truck that matched that same description.
Okay.
So, with this new information, the FBI obtained a search warrant of Steve's house and his truck. Inside the house, they found a series of journals that Steve had kept, and they found disturbing writings in it. Inside, they found poems, song lyrics, and other writings detailing violence against women. At least one of the poems was contemplating murder and how to successfully hide a body.
What?
I know. And he wrote a lot about power and wealth, and he had random quotes scattered throughout the journal saying, and one saying, power is the ultimate aphrodisiac.
Oh my gosh.
But right after all of this comes out, Amy's family comes forward and they told a different story. They're like, no. They did not have a great marriage. I'm just going to let you know. Which is like, why didn't you say that in the very beginning?
Exactly. Like, he could have totally been a suspect.
From the very beginning. So they said that they had concerns for Amy because when Steve was around, she didn't seem that happy and carefree person that she normally was, and that Steve seemed very controlling. Although Amy never mentioned this to the family or friends, her brother did note that to the police that he had seen significant bruises on her arm from a few weeks prior while she was visiting him for dinner. When he asked Amy what happened, she laughed it off and she's like, oh, Steve likes to get rough sometimes.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, no, that's
not on
not
your
cool.
arms.
Yeah. It left him uneasy, and he noted that she wouldn't look at him while she said it. After finding out this new information, the police asked Steve to come in for a polygraph test again, but he still refused. He stated that his lawyer advised him not to, and that polygraph tests were historically often inaccurate, which I understand,
right,
and they're admissible in court. He insisted his innocence and stated that his journal entries had absolutely nothing to do with anything. Oh, those old things.
That was just a phase.
That was just a phase, Mom.
So, do you think that they mainly wanted, because they know that polygraph tests aren't accurate, but do you think they mainly suggest polygraph tests to get like a profile on the person,
Yeah.
see like if they're willing to do it?
I don't know. I don't
Like,
know.
oh,
if
they
it's
weren't willing,
that.
so that puts them in the bad like category. Like, that makes them more suspicious because they're not willing to do it. But like,
Yeah.
if they're willing to do it and they're innocent and the polygraph says they're not, then like, I don't know.
I don't know, because like, so polygraph tests, like any, like you could say what's your name, and you're so stressed out about being polygraph.
Yeah,
tests,
exactly.
Like,
I would totally fail a polygraph.
yeah, me too. Even
I get
though
so
I'd be
nervous.
innocent.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things. Like, if I am innocent but I'm nervous,
Yeah.
it's gonna say that I'm not innocent.
Yeah.
So how? You know what I mean?
Did you eat the last Oreo? No.
No, I don't. Did I? I don't know. It's like
I'm
when
not sure. Did what do you mean the last Oreo? Do you mean like the?
Yeah, it's like when you go through like security checks or something, and you know that there's nothing wrong, bad in your pocket. But you're
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah, and you're so
I
nervous. Yeah.
randomly put a
Yeah.
pocket knife in my pocket for some
I've
reason.
never once carried a pocket knife on me, but I feel like there's one in my pocket
Yes.
right now.
Or like you leave a store without.
Is there cocaine on me?
Yes, like you leave a store and you're like, I know I didn't steal anything, and you know that
Yes.
you didn't. But
Yeah.
you're like, did I accidentally steal something?
Yes.
It's the same thing. So I don't understand, and I don't think that like, I don't know. I don't.
I'm wondering if like sometimes they use it as like a judge of character.
Maybe.
Like in some cases, they're like, we're pretty sure this guy is guilty, so let's see if they'd be willing to take one. And like,
I know.
oh, there's
I don't
another
know.
check in your guilty box.
Because you can't use it in court.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the point
I
of it
wonder
is.
if it's like a profile thing,
It could be.
personal thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Get them to like continue on that person.
I mean, I could see that, but again, like, what if it's just leading you down a bad road?
Yeah, exactly. Could be a waste of time.
I don't know, Brie.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Thanks.
That is a
Full
good.
of them.
That's a good question for an investigator.
I should ask one.
You should.
I'm gonna go find one.
Okay.
I have
good
to do something bad first, though.
luck.
Better not.
But not. So, where I don't know where I was. So he claimed his innocence, and he was like, "Those journals are nothing. Just ignore those. It's just a phase, Mom." Amy's parents begged him to take this polygraph test as well to prove his innocence, but he still wouldn't budge. Shortly after this information came out, phone records were obtained. It showed that at 4:43 p.m., just 15 minutes before that blue truck was seen in the Shoshone National Forest, Steve had been on the phone with a friend on his landline in the house. So,
Why did they not get phone records already?
I know. This was the 90s. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
And their apartment was 45 minutes away from where that truck had been seen. So that gave him an alibi for that time frame.
Okay.
Plus, for almost that entire day, he had been rock climbing with a friend who did verify that they were together.
Dang.
So there is a 2-hour window where he doesn't have an alibi.
Okay.
But if he did do it, Brie, that would
Cutting
mean
it super short because he'd
It's
have to
cut-
get there and get back.
yeah, that only gives him
Like
30
okay.
30 minutes to do something, pick her up and do something with her body.
Right.
That's not very long.
Yeah, and they haven't found her body yet.
Exactly. And so what can you do with the body? And with that much searching, wouldn't you think that they would have done something with her body by then?
Did they search his house yet?
Yeah, they did a warrant on his
okay.
house.
Oh, yeah, because that's how they got the journals. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
I
not a
know.
lot of time.
No.
Okay.
So ultimately, police did decide that they did not have enough evidence that Steve had anything to do with Amy's disappearance, especially from his almost airtight alibi, so they were not able to press any charges on him. In attempts to keep Amy's story in the public eye, friends and family put together a $50,000 reward for any tips leading to her whereabouts.
Jeez.
Posters, flyers were spread across town and even across the states. Steve continued to work diligently to try and find her. He put together a loop road hill race to raise money for awareness to help find Amy. On September 27th, around 150 runners showed up, and him and family and friends encouraged everyone that showed up to the race to keep searching and distribute flyers wherever they could to help find her.
Okay.
This did not go over well with a lot of people, this race that he put together, because obviously it was a fundraiser to help find her. But a lot of people actually thought, they found out that Steve was behind it, and they're like, nah, I'm dropping out. Because a lot of them thought that he was actually just raising money to get a better defense attorney.
That's what I was wondering. I'm like, was the money actually going towards it, or?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe like money for like flyers and stuff.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know where the money went, but that's what a lot of people thought. They're like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
But Steve wasn't giving up, despite like all of this negativity and the rumors and everything. Steve wasn't giving up the search for Amy. Even people told him that she was most likely not alive. He was quoted to say in Runner's World magazine, "I know people will look at the odds against her being alive, but look at the complete lack of clue. I know people will look at the odds against her being alive and look at the complete lack of clues and say it's impossible that she'll never come back. But people said it was impossible for her to become the runner that she is.
Yeah.
Amy proved them wrong once. She'll have to prove them wrong again."
Yeah.
So, little side fact also, investigators requested satellite photos from NASA back in August of 1997 on the day of her disappearance to see if there was any satellite images that would prove anything, like give a lead or anything. But that day it was so cloudy that there was no way for them to get any photos of that area. Isn't that sad?
Jeez.
So around the same time, another suspect was identified a couple months before.
Okay.
Police had received a tip from a potentially dangerous man who was living in the area. A man named Richard Eaton had called police asking that they look into his brother, who had been living in the area and happened to frequent the area to go fishing and hunting that Amy was last seen in.
Okay.
His brother's name was Dale Wade, a man who several years later was actually several years later from this incident was actually convicted of a woman's murder in Wyoming.
Oh, man.
And was a serial killer.
Okay.
Police were so focused on Steve, though, they're like, okay, thanks for the call.
Yeah.
And hung up. But at this time, they didn't know that Dale was a serial killer.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but they're like, thanks, and never followed the lead. On September 12th, 1997, just a couple months after Amy disappeared in the area, less than 3 hours from Lander, Wyoming, Dale attempted to kidnap and murder Shannon Breeder, her husband Scott, and their 5-month-old baby.
Oh, baby.
He had kidnapped them at gunpoint in their car, and after an altercation, the family was able to escape after stabbing Dale with his own knife.
Okay, good. Good job, family.
Heck yeah. So Dale's brother reported that he knew that Dale had been in the backcountry camping in the same location that Amy would have been running on that trail of the 10K. And she what am I saying? So Dale's brother reported that he knew that Dale had been in the backcountry where Amy was running, and asked police. I don't know why I worded it that way. Okay. Let me say that one more time. Dale's brother reported that he knew that his brother was in the backcountry camping in the same location that Amy was running. And he was adamant that he had nothing, but why did I skip a whole sentence? Okay. one more time.
You're like, dang it, past Amy.
So I think like I took my my notes and then like copied them and like put it in a whole sentence because it doesn't make sense. So Dale's brother was like, he was back in the back country camping when Amy went running and disappeared. And when the police confronted Dale about this, Dale was like, no, I didn't do it.
Okay, well that's
a
little bit too coincidental.
Yeah, but with no evidence linking him to her, no charges were filed. And at this point, he was not a convicted serial killer. He had just been found to have attempted kidnapped and murdered somebody, but all right.
Okay, but that's more against him than the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, Steve, your journals are a little questionable.
We have questions, Steve.
Yes.
Steve spent the next several months searching for Amy and started the Amy Bechell Recovery Headquarters, where he mailed over 200,000 posters around the nation, and he was quoted in Runner's World magazine saying, this is weird, Brie. My fondest hope right now is that Amy left me, which I get.
Yeah,
like
I'd rather than be left you than be dead.
I would love nothing better than to find out my wife ran off with somebody else. The next best thing would be if she were being held captive, because if an abductor doesn't kill his victim right away, he tends to develop a relationship with her.
What?
The more time goes by, the better he gets to know her, the less likely he is to kill her.
That's so specific. Yeah. Why would you say that?
I know.
Like, I get we have like thoughts and stuff like that, but like, why would you say that out loud?
That's something you keep to yourself.
Yeah,
bud.
exactly. Like, you can have those thoughts. That's fine. Because you're like, well, maybe
you're trying to rationalize things.
Like, maybe if she's kidnapped, maybe she's still alive. Maybe the kidnapper's grown attached to her, and she's gonna continue
somehow
to live her life and escape. Yeah. But, like, you don't say that out loud.
It makes me wonder, like, did he sell her?
Yeah. Like, what did what happened, dude? Like, what's going on, Steve?
So, meanwhile, while all of this was still happening, Amy's family is still begging Steve to take a polygraph test. They even went on popular TV talk show that at the time was called Geraldo Rivera.
I don't remember that one.
I don't know either.
It's probably on the daytime shows.
Probably. And they publicly begged him to take a polygraph test on the show.
Okay.
They were quoted saying that doesn't mean that we think you did it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't mean that I'm accusing him of anything, but if anyone is holding up the progress of this investigation, it is Steve.
Put our minds at ease.
Yeah. Because they felt that because he still hasn't done this test, police were still kind of having doubts.
Right.
And, they
were clinging on to him as their suspect.
Yes, exactly. So their point of view was like, just take the polygraph and prove that it wasn't you.
Right.
So no future development did happen in the case, but in 2003, Del Eaton was found guilty of murder of an 18-year-old girl, Lisa Marie Kimmel. He had kidnapped, raped, and murdered her in 1988.
Jeez.
So before this had all happened with Amy, police had finally found DNA evidence linking Del to the 18-year-old. Her body was found only a few hours away in Wyoming, where Amy disappeared.
Okay. All right. That's very coincidental.
Yeah. Del also was linked to 3 other women who were murdered in Wyoming in the early 1980s. He was given the death sentence initially, which was later amended due to his mental health reasons. He's now serving life in prison without the possibility of parole. After the death sentence was taken off the table, investigators attempted to talk to Dale again in regards to Amy, but he refused to talk to them at all. He had several strokes and has some diminished brain function, and he uses a wheelchair, but he will be in prison until the day he dies. The whereabouts of Amy is what happened to her that day is still a mystery and remains unsolved. But there are investigators to this day that still have Steve as their prime suspect despite everything with Dale. So, in terms of her disappearance, it is still unknown. Like I said, her family is still looking for answers and what happened to her. There's never been any evidence that has been found from her, like no clothes, nothing.
That's the biggest thing to me.
I know. There have been a few little trinkets that have been found in the woods that people believe may have not been hers, but no one can really tell because they don't know what was actually on her that day besides what she was wearing. And and Steve has been remarried. He's still in the area, but that's all I know.
So unless like they find a body part, we don't know where she's at.
We don't know where she's at.
And her vehicle was there. And her keys were in the vehicle.
But not her wallet.
Yeah. You gotta find that wallet. Or just find her.
Yeah. That I think
Dude.
Isn't that crazy?
Somebody hid her well.
I know.
Oh, that's sad.
I know.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good story.
Thank you. A lot of people in the area thought that someone maybe was like a drunk driver or just like went around a turn or something and might have hit her and then just put her in the trunk real quick and like took off.
That would make sense. And then like took her body somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like someone that's not like a suspect or whatever, like, or even on the police radar, like, you can easily hide that body.
Right.
Because they're not looking for you.
Right.
Or what if Steve, like, had a friend do it?
That's what I was thinking. Like, he had that 2-hour window, but, like, what if he had someone that was helping him? Who was he talking to on the phone?
I don't know.
Because, like, what if he was talking to that person on the phone who was working with him and be like, oh, the job's done.
Yeah.
Click.
Yeah. He could have been
wild.
talking to his friend. He took that blue truck.
What was his job? I know you said he was a rock climber, but like that wasn't his job, was it?
I don't know what his job was.
Man.
Because like if maybe his friend borrowed his truck because they said it was a blue truck that was similar to his.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
His friend went and dumped the body like somewhere not even in the forest. Maybe they buried it in the backyard. I don't know.
That's wild.
I know. Do you have a neighborhood story for me?
I do. And hopefully we haven't read it before.
Should.
Okay. So it's titled More Feces.
Oh, no.
Sound familiar?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Yes, but no. Not in that sense. Woke up this morning to feces everywhere. Apparently the kids who spread it a few days ago in blank struck again. This time with more wet and less hard feces.
Ew.
These feces spreading kids must be stopped.
Oh my God.
Darn feces spreading kids.
Darn feces.
Oh man.
That was a good one.
Thanks.
Kids are disgusting.
Your story, I liked your neighborhood story even more.
Oh, thanks.
So good. I want to hear it again.
You want me to hear it next week?
Yeah.
I liked it so much. I wanted to share it. I cannot believe I shared that. Because like I was
right when you were done, I'm like, or right when you started, and I'm like, dog barking.
So
I don't remember this.
I was like, I told you I was like finishing up my like editing my story or whatever, and I was like, oh, I need a neighborhood story, and I was like, oh, I just got one on my because I was on my phone, and I was like, I just found this on Reddit, so I like emailed it to myself, and I was like all proud of myself putting it in my paper.
It's okay.
But I was so proud. I was like, oh, I don't need one. I have it on my phone already.
It just adds a little zing to the show.
Zing!
Shows everybody. Amy is exhausted. She's been having a busy life. Also, you guys. Also, Candy.
We met my parents.
I got to meet. Yeah, well, I met your dad before, but I got to meet your mom.
You got to meet my mom.
And I think you're amazing. And I made her cookies with blood splatter all over them.
And Alice, Natalie Bree's daughter calls my mom Nana. And they're like best friends.
She came home and she told Charlotte, she's like, Charlotte, chips, I got chips from Nana. And Charlotte's like, I want chips. She's like, no. So cute. Nana.
I love it.
It's adorable.
Anyways, I gotta go pack some more, so that's fun.
So thanks guys for listening. Amy's got stuff to do. I've got Legos to build.
I'm actually gonna go home and play Sims because I haven't done that in over a week.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's I wasn't gonna tell you, but I do want to tell you. There's a Lego set that I want to get you.
Oh, is it a Sims Lego set? That would be weird.
No, it's a tiger. Do you know what's so special about why people want the tiger?
No.
Because it has a pink butthole. It has a butthole. It shows it like its butthole shows in it, and like people like are posting like we follow a bunch of like Lego pages on Facebook, and like people are like so big on their kid like their kids want this Lego set because it shows the butthole. Lego gets really detailed into their designs, guys.
They get it in there.
They get every last bit, every last bit of the bits. Thank you, Lego.
Thank you, Lego.
But I wanted to get that for you, so you might get that one day. Anyway,
thank you. You could give me a banana.
A banana Lego. I bet they have them.
Also, if you guys know what we're talking about with bananas, let us know.
Yeah.
Or don't.
Have we talked about it on the show?
On Patreon, we have.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
We mention banana all the time.
Yeah.
But we've only talked about the actual story on Patreon. So if you want to hear this absurd story about bananas,
it's pretty great. So
it's pretty bad, actually.
Just if you ever want to send us anything, just send Amy. No, not me. Send Amy anything bananas. Because Amy's is bananas. She loves bananas
Apparently,
so much.
I love bananas
she
so
loves
much.
them so much. Anyway.
Thank you. I saw him.
So, have you checked in on your neighbors
No.
lately?
What's with the neighbors? I'm going to get it someday.
Bring Amy out.
Psh. I promise, Bree. Say hi to your cat's house.
Meow. Don't get dead.